After a few years of waiting, Splitgate 2 is finally here, but I'm not sure. Oh,
Bubble shield, dude.
oh, popping off.
Get on, B.
Be mercy.
Oh, I got a triple, boys. Back in 2021, you might have experienced the indie FPS known as Splitgate that would explode in virality and become the game of the summer. Now, this was a game that I and many others enjoyed, as it was a real breath of fresh air in the FPS space, and it sort of popped off at that perfect time. Unfortunately though, Splitgate 1 never retained the numbers that you would have wanted, and eventually 1047, the devs behind Splitgate, would announce that they were moving to work on their next game, and finally, as of today, that work is in our hands. I do want to give a huge shout out to 1047 though, not only letting me play the alpha early, but also sponsoring this video. But let's talk about it because the open alpha starts today with Twitch drops all weekend. I mean, who can pass up on those? Currently, this alpha is for PC along with the newer consoles, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S, though when Splitgate 2 full releases, it will be available on prior consoles. Splitgate 2 at its core is more Splitgate. Fast-paced arena-style gameplay with a heavy emphasis on portals that allow the player to traverse around the map quicker or just outplay their opponents. I mean, we've all seen those clips from the first Splitgate, and you can still make those same type of plays. Similar to the first game, at its most basic level, the game is a lot of fun. However, they have made some major overhauls to Splitgate 2 that do really change the experience. Now, the first and foremost in your face is just the presentation. If you played the first game, you probably remember that the art style seemed a bit disjointed at times due to a clash in the newer items once 1047 had grown, compared to some of the assets from the very start of the game. Splitgate 2 looks and sounds amazing, and you can really see the growth in 1047 as a studio, not only in experience, but also size and resources, as they're no longer that ragtag group of dudes making a game out of their dorm, but instead a full-fledgling studio. First thing I really want to dive into is some of the gameplay choices. Because while I did really enjoy my time so far in Splitgate 2, I do have some reservations with some of the design choices that they've made, most notably the loadout system. But before I touch on that, I do want to praise a huge quality of life change that they made in Splitgate 2 that I think is huge for more casual players, and that's that you can bind both sides of the portal to one button. In the first game, if you wanted to portal across the map, each side of the portal was bound to a different button, so sometimes you'd accidentally click the wrong portal and end up running into a wall, but now you can just click the same button twice, it'll open both ends of the portal, and you can jump on in. To me, I think that feels really nice, and I like that quality of life change. Though if you want to keep it like the OG and have the different portals bound to the different keybinds, you can still do that, which I think is a great option for all the players. Now, the first Splitgate was a true even start arena shooter, basically meaning that every single person in the game spawned in exactly the same. Same starting weapons, same abilities, and you would sort of power up your character from picking up power weapons on the map, along with controlling different stronger points in the map. Splitgate 2 sort of flips that on its head a bit, where now there are 3 main factions, each with their own abilities, perks, and guns that you can select before even spawning. Now, there are still power weapons on the map like the rocket launcher, sniper, or the classic BFB.
That's a melee weapon.
Ah, let's go! Let's go!
Nice.
That was fun. Along with some new fun ones like this SMG that splits into 2, which absolutely shreds people. However, the catch is that you can't portal while using it. It's actually a pretty cool weapon, I like it. But with your loadouts, each faction can pick from 5 primaries and 3 secondaries, all sharing the same weapon classes, but each kind of differs in its execution. For example, the specific heavy pistol or carbine for each faction might be a little different, but they each have a heavy pistol and a carbine. I mostly played around with the carbine and BR because I'm kind of a precision rifle dude, but when I was running around getting up close and personal, I was enjoying the assault rifle, and I sort of neglected the shotgun and SMG starts during my gameplay, outside of when we played the chaos mode, which cranked up the movement speed, and in that I felt like the shotgun was pretty based. Now, during my time playing, it felt like all the starting weapons were fairly balanced, though I do have a feeling that as more players hop in, certain weapons will rise above others, and some will probably dominate different maps and game modes. You can swap and edit your loadout mid-game, which is nice if you need to change something in a pinch or counter something that the enemy is doing. Each faction also has 3 pieces of equipment that they can pick up that are unique to them, along with attachments for each of the guns that are shared between factions, i.e. you could pick like an extended mag or a rapid fire attachment. I'll be brutally honest here, while I don't think the loadout system plays badly, I do wish they had stuck with the equal start model. Now, when it comes to a team comp, each faction provides a passive buff to the team. So it's good to have one of each of the factions on your squad. However, you don't have to. Everyone can play Arrrash or the same faction if they want. Now, throughout my time playing so far, the Arrrash faction has been my favorite, as it's sort of the class built around speed and aggression, as your main ability allows you to move faster and reload quicker, which just fit my playstyle of kind of just running and gunning as much as I could. I also comboed this pretty well with an automatic like the assault rifle, and it seemed pretty strong. Meridian was probably my least favorite faction, as that one possesses a wall hack that you can call in, and then the Cerberus faction had a shield wall that you could call in, which was pretty strong, though I wish you could kind of throw it in front of you a bit, instead of how it just deploys right at your feet. I also didn't love the attachment system. Each primary weapon had 2 attachment slots, and the secondaries had 1, and they were fine. They didn't seem like anything crazy, though I do wonder if it'll just end up a case of, these are the meta attachments, pick these for each gun. But I'll kind of wait and see on that front, as I want to play more and also see how the player base adapts the various attachments. But I know from some games, literally all I do is go on a website, see which attachments are the best, pick those, and never look at them again until there's like an update or a balance patch. So that's kind of like a brief overview of the core gameplay in Splitgate 2. It also maintains Sprint from the first game, the jetpack, and mantle, which all played and felt exactly like you'd expect, so no issues there. But they also added a slide, which I'm pretty sure is new unless I've completely blacked out my Splitgate 1 memory. The slide's actually pretty crazy and a lot of fun. Hitting a slide down an incline when you have some momentum can get pretty crazy, and you can do some pretty nasty slides on the larger map. So besides that, I also got to play a variety of game modes and maps. Now the maps honestly didn't stand out too much so far, as they all seemed pretty competent, besides the one larger map, Glacier, that was included for their new multi-team Portal Warfare, which I believe has the opportunity to help Splitgate 2 out a ton with a game mode style that was lacking in the first game. This is basically 8v8v8 on large maps, though like I said, I only played the one, which was Glacier, and this is a way bigger map than the standard Splitgate map, and on this we got to play things like Domination, Hot Zone, and TDM. What I think is special about this mode is it gives a much more laid back and casual experience compared to the more sweaty and competitive and fast paced experience that you get when you play 4v4 Splitgate. If you played Splitgate 1, you know how crazy some of those lobbies could get sometimes, but in the 8v8v8 mode, I felt like I kind of kicked my feet back, chill with the boys, and kind of just run around the map shooting things, and for me that was a lot of fun. Now obviously you can still get pretty crazy with it. You can make sure your team's on the same page, and you can hit some nasty clips. But I'm excited to see how this mode develops, especially once they add other maps to it, as it really feels like the big new thing that Splitgate 2 provided outside of a more pretty and polished Splitgate experience. On the 4v4 front side, things seemed pretty similar. We got to play game modes like Domination, Team Deathmatch, and Hot Zone all returned, which is King of the Hill. But there were some new takes on the arena genre with things like Splitball and Firecracker. Splitball is sort of a combination of Capture the Flag and Oddball, and it actually reminds me a lot of that older Call of Duty mode from the jetpack games where you would throw the ball into the goal. Splitball isn't exactly the same, but it felt kind of similar to that, where you would go and pick up these balls and try and bring them back to your base to score, though the enemy team can come and steal the balls that you've already scored until one team hits 3, and then you win. This is actually probably one of my favorite arena modes. It felt like it had a good combination of really intense moments with some more stuff that was like standard paced. There was also Firecracker, which is Splitgate's attempt on an S&D style mode with respawns, and it reminded me a lot of Sabotage if you remember that from the older Call of Duties, though instead of each team attacking and defending at the same time, you do take turns on each side from round to round. This mode feels like it has a lot of potential, but they do need to find a good balance so it doesn't just feel like people throwing their body at a bomb site to plant or defend. I won't lie, I don't know if Takedown is coming back in Splitgate 2, but that mode was one of my favorites in Splitgate 1, and I feel like it sort of filled the same niche of a round-based mode, but we'll kind of see where it goes. I think Firecracker has the opportunity to really grow on me, and it could become one of my favorite modes, as SND style modes in games are some of my favorites, but the little bit I played of it, it didn't quite click with me yet, but I think maybe playing it on more maps and kind of figuring out the meta a bit more, I think the potential is there. All in all, I think Splitgate 2 has a ton of potential, and this time around 1047 seems much more equipped to support a live service game than it was when Splitgate 1 originally exploded. Plus, if we've learned anything recently, it's that there's much more to the shooter space than just BRs like people were saying for the longest time. So maybe Splitgate 2 can have its pop-off similar to the first, and this time keep that momentum. I want to say thanks again to 1047 for sponsoring this video, and also giving me the opportunity to play the alpha early. I hope to match some of you guys in the open alpha.